My name is Eric Benari. This is Games People Play. In this episode, we're going to play the game called Corner. Corner illustrates more clearly than most games their manipulative aspect and their function as barriers to intimacy. Paradoxically, it consists of a disingenuous refusal to play the game of another. In the first step of the game, Mrs. Whitman suggests to her husband that they go to a movie, and Mr. Whitman agrees. The next step is that Mrs. Whitman makes an unconscious slip. She mentions quite naturally in the course of conversation that the house needs painting. This is an expensive project that Mr. Whitman has recently told her that their finances are strained, and Mr. Whitman has recently told her that their finances are strained. So he requested her not to embarrass or annoy him by suggesting any unusual expenditures, at least until the beginning of the next month. This is therefore an ill-chosen moment to bring up the condition of the house, and Mr. Whitman responds rudely. An alternative part of this step would be if Mr. Whitman steers the conversation around the house, making it difficult for Mrs. Whitman to resist the temptation to say that it needs painting. As in the previous alternative step, Mr. Whitman responds rudely. In the next step, Mrs. Whitman takes offense and says that if he is in one of his bad moods, she will not go to the movie with him, and he has to go by himself. He says if that is the way she feels about it, he will go alone. In the next step, Mr. Whitman goes to the movie, or goes out with the boys or whatever, leaving Mrs. Whitman at home to nurse her injured feelings. There are two possible gimmicks in this game. Mrs. Whitman knows very well from past experiences that she is not supposed to take his annoyance seriously. What he really wants is for her to show some appreciation of how hard he works to earn their living, that then they could go off happily together. But she refuses to play, and he feels badly let down. He leaves filled with disappointment and resentment, while she stays at home looking abused, but with a secret feeling of triumph. Mr. Whitman knows very well from past experiences that he is not supposed to take her pique seriously either. What she really wants is to be honeyed out of it. Then they would go off and have a happy evening together. But he refuses to play, knowing that his refusal is dishonest. He knows that she wants to be coaxed, but pretends he doesn't. He leaves the house feeling cheerful and relieved, but looking wronged. She is left feeling disappointed and resentful. In each of these cases, the winner's position is, from a naive standpoint, irreproachable. All he or she has done is take the other literally. This is clearer in the form where Mr. Whitman takes Mrs. Whitman's refusal to go at face value and just goes without her. They both know that this is cheating, though, but since she said it, she is cornered. The most obvious gain here is the external psychological. Both of them find movies sexually stimulating, and it is more or less anticipated that after they return from the theater they will make love. Hence, whichever one of them wants to avoid intimacy sets up this game. The wronged party can, of course, make a good case for not wanting to make love in a state of justifiable indignation, and the cornered spouse has no recourse. Let's discuss the antithesis. This is simple for Mrs. Whitman. All she has to do is change her mind, take her husband by the arm, smile, and go along with him. A shift from her inner child to her inner adult ego state. It is more difficult for Mr. Whitman since she now has the initiative, but if he reviews the whole situation, he may be able to coax her into going along with him, either as a sulky inner child who has been placated, or better yet, as the inner adult. The game of corner is found in a somewhat different form as a family game involving the children. This may be an important factor in schizophrenia, that whatever they do is always going to be wrong. In the present language, schizophrenia may be a child's antithesis to the game corner. Experience in treating adult schizophrenics with game analysis bears this out. That is, if the family game of corner is analyzed to demonstrate that the schizophrenic behavior was and is specifically undertaken to counter the game, partial or total remission occurs in a properly prepared patient. An everyday form of the game corner, which is played by the whole family and is most likely to affect the character development of younger children, occurs when meddlesome parents become parental. This little boy or the little boy or girl is urged to be more helpful around the house, but when they are, the parents then find fault in what they do. A homely example of damned if you do and damned if you don't. The game corner is sometimes found as an etiological factor in asthmatic children. For instance, let's think of this scenario. A little girl asks her mother, "Mommy, do you love me?" But then the mother responds, "What is love?" This answer leaves the child with no direct recourse. She wants to talk about the mother, and the mother switches the subject to philosophy, which the little girl is not equipped to handle. She begins to breathe hard. Mother is irritated. Asthma sets in. The mother apologizes, and the asthma game now has run its course. This asthma type of the game of corner remains to be studied further. An elegant variant, which may be called the Russell-Whitehead type of corner game, sometimes occurs in therapy groups. Let's try this scenario out. Mr. Blick says, "Well, anyway, when we're silent, nobody is playing games." Mr. Whitman replies, "Well, silence itself may be a game." Then Mr. Fred chimes in, "But nobody was playing games today." And then Mr. Whitman responds, "But not playing games may in itself be a game." The therapeutic antithesis is equally elegant. Logical paradoxes are forbidden. When Mr. Whitman is deprived of this maneuver, his underlying anxieties come quickly to the force. Closely allied to the game of corner is the marital game of lunch bag. The husband, who can well afford to have lunch at a good restaurant, nevertheless makes himself a few sandwiches every morning, which he takes to the office in a paper bag. In this way, he uses crusts of bread, leftovers from dinner, and paper bags which his wife saves for him. This gives him complete control over the family finances. For what wife would dare buy herself a mink stole in the face of such self-sacrifice? The husband reaps numerous other advantages, such as the privilege of eating lunch by himself and of catching up on his work during his lunch hour. In many ways, this is a constructive game which Benjamin Franklin would have approved of, since it encourages the virtues of thrift, hard work, and punctuality. Thank you for watching. I'll see you in the next game we will play.